Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. I am Aesop Grimm, and I have been in limbo for the past few months. This is a channel update. I'll give you the explanation for why and what's kind of on the horizon for the channel. So for those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. And for those of you who have been following but have wondered where I've been, here you go. I've been playing a lot, almost exclusively, guys. World of Warcraft Season of Discovery. And I have not, because I've been learning so much, I haven't felt like I've been in a position to actually do any recording or streaming of this. And I think not just because I'm learning, but because of the nature of the social interaction. And that's what I've been involved in, is that I've got guildies. I'm working with them, I'm learning from them, I'm talking with them in Discord, and that's not the kind of stuff that would go on a stream, you know? So I just haven't really figured out a good way of doing that. And then when you get into the raids, I'm kind of a mid-tier player, and so I'm constantly trying to improve how I'm doing, listening to advice, listening to raid mechanics, listening to the raid boss. And again, that's not really conducive to me really talking about what I'm doing to an audience, right? So I just have, it's completely eluded me as to how I might be able to play Season of Discovery while also uploading content from that onto my channel. So I've been very busy. I've got right now we're in phase 3, so the level cap is 50, and I've got a 50 shadow priest, a 50 warrior, a 50 paladin. I have a level 25 rogue. I have a level 16 hunter that's just kind of sitting there right now. And I have a level 24 mage that I'm working on getting to level 50 right now, to be kind of my farming character and to do some mining for me so that both my paladin and warrior can go blacksmithing and engineering. So I tell you all those details so that you get an idea of just how absorbed and involved I've been with Season of Discovery. It's not that I stopped playing games or I fell off the face of the earth or anything. It's that I've been playing this game a lot, and I don't really know a good way to incorporate that into YouTube channel uploads, right? But that said, here's what could be on the horizon. And I say could be because really there's only one thing, maybe two things, I guess, that are definitive. This next one is not definitive, and the next one is World of Warcraft Cataclysm Classic. If I play this, well, not if I play it, but if I decide to start a series and upload it or stream it onto the various media platforms that I'm on Kick, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble, with Rumble being my preference, then it will not happen until Cataclysm actually officially releases. And it will not happen until after Phase 4 is done, I believe. I just see myself playing Season of Discovery and having enough involved there with 6 different characters and my guild that I think I would just focus on. There's plenty of stuff for me to work on there. So those are the two things for Cataclysm. Number one, very likely not until after Phase 4 of Season of Discovery is completed. Or I guess I should just say Season of Discovery is completed, because I don't know how we're going to split Phase 4 up. So I want everybody, I want the audience to understand what I'm saying. We're talking about, you got Phase 4 releasing, you got Molten Core and stuff like that, but then afterwards you're going to have several other instances open up over this sort of phased progress within a phase, right? You're going to have BWL, you're going to get to Onyxia, possibly Nax. I'm anticipating that Nax will be part of it. Maybe AQ40 as well, I guess. Which are 2 instances that I have never ever done. So I don't know how long Season of Discovery lingers on, but I anticipate I would not play I would not upload to YouTube a series on WoW Cataclysm, which I've never played, by the way, until Phase 4 is done, and also until Cataclysm is in post-release. Right now it's in pre-release, and it's buggy as heck, and people are enjoying it, I guess. I don't really know for sure. But that's not what I'm interested in. I don't want to play the buggy version. I want to play the release version. So there you go. World of Warcraft Cataclysm Classic possibility, right? The next game that is all but assured, beginning possibly as early as today, actually. So the stream of this game may actually be up and going before this video is even available. I don't really know yet. You know, the video that you're watching right now. And that is Crusader Kings 3, where I have the Fate of Iberia DLC that I've never played. And so the plan here is actually, ironically, I think it's this guy that I'm going to play as over near Barcelona. He's in the county of Urgell, I believe, in the Iberian Peninsula. I want to play tall. I want to give that a shot. I want to kind of learn how to do it. I've already watched some videos on it, so I have an idea of what to do. But it's a different way of playing CK3 than what I've done in the past. In the past, I am absolutely horrendous at goal setting. I might have like maybe an overarching objective, but even that is forced. I mostly in the past have played Crusader Kings 3, whether Crusader Kings in general, both CK2 and CK3, whether I'm doing a YouTube series or whether I'm just playing on my own, as more of a simulator of history. And so I like to go in and play as a family. I usually don't do anything too outlandish. I don't form my own religions. I don't tend to do hybrid cultures very often unless they're historical, like England, you know, which is a hybrid of Norman and Anglo-Saxon. Norman also being a hybrid of various what we might call French subcultures and Norse. Unless they historically exist, I don't tend to form my own cultures. I just try to play as realistically as my mind sees it, as my perception is for the era that I'm in. I try to be a good vassal. Eventually I tend to become a king. You know, and so it can make for actually, in my opinion, kind of some boring playthrough, but it's relaxing and it's neat. It's curious. It's interesting. So here I'm kind of breaking away from that tradition, and I have more of a hard goal of what I might call a mechanical nature. It's the mechanics of the game. I want to play tall. That requires me to do specific things with certain mechanics that are available in the game, namely development and balancing stewardship and what is it called? I suddenly blanked on it. The learning tree, and piecing those together to get maximum development possible. So anyway, I think it'll be fun. I'll have the Iberian struggle going on at the same time, which I'm new to and learning about. I'll be playing pretty passively within that, I think. Additionally, disease, plague is a really big thing, because even though I don't have the DLC, which I believe is called Legends or something to that effect, I do obviously have the free download that accompanies all paid DLC. That's the model for Paradox Games, right? So within that free update, plagues have become a serious issue, and so I'll be dealing with that. There are some new mechanics available that came with past DLCs that I'll be messing around with, like you can plan an itinerary for how you journey around. I think that came with tournaments, the tournaments package. That's relatively new to me. I think it's pretty cool. It's at least interesting to me, and I am not planning on using any mods. I just want to play the game as it is, right? So that's the goal there. Mess around with the Fate of Iberia stuff, but mostly learn how to play tall. And I don't know how long that series will go for, but it's a cool, relaxing thing that I can do while waiting for, and this one is for sure coming to the channel. Ironically enough, right now I just don't feel it's not the thing I'm the most excited about, but I have a feeling that whenever it gets started I will be excited about, because it's a really well done game, and you've probably already guessed it, it's on the cusp of release. Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree. This, along with WoW SOD, is kind of the big reason why my channel has been dormant. Once I finished my Elden Ring playthrough, which lasted forever. Oh my gosh, I played that every day for years. And I think that's why I'm not necessarily at the moment super ultra excited about Shadow of the Erd Trees, because I'm still kind of taking a break. But whenever this game comes out, I'll be playing it. The game's just too good to pass up, especially on a hot release like that. When people are looking for content, I want to get in on that. That sounds probably exploitative. It's part of the excitement for me. It's being part of the Elden Ring gaming community. You know, that everybody's doing this at the same time. I'll be watching other people's videos while I'm creating my own. That's what I want to be a part of. You know, it's this sort of nucleus of this subculture that I feel like I'm a member of. So we'll be doing that. And I don't know how long that'll last either, but that expansion is supposed to be flipping ginormous, man. I believe this comes out at the end of June. And so it's getting close. But my channel went on hiatus because I ran out of games to play. I got into WoW SOD. Well, I don't know if I could ever say I run out of games to play. I've got games that I still haven't completed, like Deus Ex, you know. It's more that I got so heavily involved with WoW SOD and I didn't know how to incorporate that into the YouTube experience, right? Or the, I should say, the online streaming and uploading experience, because it's not exclusive to YouTube anymore. In combination with this game right here being the next big thing that was going to come out. So in other words, I wasn't necessarily super drawn to another game. I got heavily involved in WoW SOD, which I didn't know how to incorporate. And then there you go. It's those two things combined, right? Now, the next two games I'm going to show you are games that I have resisted putting onto my channel. I don't know really how to put this without sounding like I'm a stick in the mud, you know, but I guess you just got to go with what it is. My channel is supposed to be relatively wholesome. Right? I don't market it to kids, but I do market it to people who have kids. That's the idea. And I have sort of this heart for people who are at home taking care of business, whether they work at home or they're a stay-at-home mom or they run a business out of their house or whatever it is, that have little kids running around in the living room while they're doing their job, you know, taking care of the house, doing chores, doing laundry, washing dishes, doing their career, whatever it is, the whole gamut, the whole spectrum. And I believe maybe this will sound cheesy or even cringe to some people, but I really look up to these people that are raising families. I think they're integral to society, and I see a lot of energy. You know, they're dead tired most of the time, and yet they persevere, and they're motivated and they love their kids, and they're doing everything they can in a world that's really, in my opinion, kind of gone off the rails. And so it's with that kind of a heart that I cultivate the games that I put on my channel. So because of that, I tend to avoid things that are more what you might call adult themed, and that in American society, adult themed usually alludes to bedroom activities. But if you broaden that perspective, it could be, ultra violent, too much gore and blood. So in other words, if you were to go to Germany, they're quite all right. I used to live overseas, so I'm aware of these things. They're very much more okay with the let's call it the variances of bedroom activities than Americans are. Americans tend to be a lot more uptight in that area, but Germans, and this makes sense if you think of their history, Germans are really uptight about violence and bloodshed, where Americans are kind of gratuitous in that area, right? So there's a full spectrum to adult content. But I'm telling you guys, I have really been into these couple games. They're made by the same company here lately, and so there's a real chance that these could be coming to the channel. I'll just give my normal intro videos so that people have a heads up and know what we're getting into there. But the first one is The Witcher 3. I recently watched series 1 through 3 again. I just finished it up a couple days ago. I don't have any intention at all of watching season 4. To me, season 3 was already starting to stray away. No disrespect to Liam Hemsworth, who I think I've seen in a couple other movies before, and he was good. He's a good actor. I think I've seen because I'm very much detached from Hollywood right now. I don't watch a whole lot of movies, and I used to be a big movie watcher. But Henry Cavill is The Witcher to me, and it is actually more important to me of the rumors that I heard of why Henry Cavill stepped away. Henry Cavill is a geek at heart. He believes in the source material. He's excited about doing movies that cover things that he likes, that, nerd culture stuff that he's gotten into. And he just brooks no quarter whenever a directorial team decides to stray too far from the source material. And in essence, the way that I would put it is hijack the platform, the IP, in order to tell their own stories. And this is what I heard was causing problems, so that Henry Cavill and this directorial team had a mutual parting of the ways. Henry was fighting more and more and more. They had I would call it an agenda. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but they had what they wanted to do with their stories, and these two were clashing, right? Well, between those two and who wants what stories told, I side with Cavill. I mean, it's enormous red flags for me. So I have no intention at all of watching season 4. I thought season 3, I thought the last episode was good, but my goodness, something like episode 2 or episode 3, it got worse and worse and worse. And then it's like they kind of pulled it all together with the last episode, and it ended pretty well. But that I guess I ended up talking about the TV series too much there. I didn't mean to do that, but that's got me in the mood to play The Witcher 3. I bought the Blood and Wine expansion pack years ago, and I've never touched it. Never even touched it. There's a lot of things to do in this game. It's one of the better games that's been. It's like a Hall of Fame game, right? There is another expansion pack with it also. I think it's called Hearts of Stone that I'll have to double check, but I don't think I got that one. So if I don't have it, I will probably buy it for this series that we do. Now this, again, I gotta stress, this is a maybe. I don't even really know. To tell you the truth, the one that I'm even more excited about, that I was like a hard no on for my channel, Because if you've played this game, you know why. This game is closer to GTA, in my opinion, and that's just kind of, I tend to steer away from stuff like that. It's dystopian. It's kind of a downer, as far as its mood, and you probably already know the game I'm talking about. It's this one right here. I have never played this game. It's not even in my library. If I decide to do this game, it won't be until the summer sale has happened. I will buy it on the summer sale. And if the price is right, I might get the DLC Phantom Liberty. This game also has more DLC on the way already, on the horizon. Which, by the way, is kind of also true of The Witcher 3. I forgot to mention that. They have The Witcher 4 is coming. And they're going to do a new version, an updated version of the original Witcher. So that looks promising as well, which is another reason why I kind of might want to go ahead and do a playthrough of The Witcher 3 right now, because this other stuff that's on the horizon is coming in 2025 apparently. But back to Cyberpunk. I just mentioned it's got Phantom of Liberty is already out, the DLC, and it has new DLC, or maybe it's going to be Cyberpunk 2077 Part 2 coming in 2025. The 2.1 version is out. This game has been cleaned up so much since its disastrous release. And I'll tell you, this is what got me. I brought up this YouTube video. I don't remember who did it. I should have made a note of that. I didn't think I would actually go into this much detail, and that's why I didn't make a note of the YouTuber who put this. But the title of it was something like, "Why I Can't Stop Playing Cyberpunk 2077," or maybe it was an explanation for why I can't stop playing Cyberpunk 2077. It's something to that effect. And the guy was talking about how it's the story and the characters. They're absolutely amazing. And I looked at the comments and everybody was agreeing. And there was one comment that really stood out to me because it dovetailed, it added more context to what this guy was saying. This guy was talking about how he absolutely loved this game. You got to listen to this video. Like he is so enmeshed in this world. He wishes that he lived there. He listens to music every day by it. He plays some of the game or watches other people play the game almost daily. He has really liked the game since the beginning, even with the really disastrous release. And the person in the comments said, "I wonder if the reason why some of us like this game so much, despite the flaws that it released with, and why we forgave it, was because we're less gamers and we're more movie, story, novel oriented people." And it's not that I'm necessarily like that. I might be. I'm not sure. But it's that told me that this story and the characters are so rich. And I have a channel that I named, the subtitle of it is Let's Play a Story. It's why I like Crusader Kings 3. If you play Crusader Kings long enough, if you stick with it, it sews together a whole story for you. It's why I named my channel Aesop Grimm. Fables and old stories that in school I took an English class one time. It was everybody takes English. It was a mandatory class, and there was one point where I had to go get some tutoring, even though English is my strong suit. But I wanted to be as good as I could be. And I was having to write about an author, and I went to my tutor, and we were talking, and I was telling her how I loved history, and she said that she viewed this literature from the past as being part of history because it was another way. I had told her that my history professor told me that history is like the laboratory for society. It's the best thing that we can get to for a scientific laboratory for how to deal with current day social ills. Chances are that you can go back in history, and if you're able to contextualize it and able to look at people within their culture, era, and time correctly, which is actually a major problem these days for some people. They have a I'll say something controversial. Take slavery, for example. You'll have people that'll look back on the days of slavery, and let's even go way further back. Let's go back to the Roman days, right? And they'll say that these societies were pure evil. How can you ever do that? Well, we know, we have had all of the philosophical thought to establish that it is an evil to enslave a human being. Now, why you might say that depends on what school of thought you're coming from. For me, it comes from the Imago Dei kind of idea, right? But what they'll do is they'll judge something that happened, 400 years ago, 450 years ago, 2,500 years ago, according to today's societal standards, morals, traditions, and ideals. And you're not supposed to do that. If you're going to try and find a solution to what's going on now, you have to look at what people did in the past, and you have to be able to framework it with their culture and society and how they thought of the world. And then you can draw your lessons learned. Okay. So again, I spoke a little bit too much on that. This stuff is interesting to me, so I tend to kind of just, jive with it. But my English tutor was resonating with that, right? She agreed, and she was like, that's what I like about literature. You can look at literature like The Great Gatsby, and you can see what they were talking about in their day and time. And these are fictional stories, but they're writing stories from their perspective and how and what their worldview was at the time. And it gives you a story provides a framework for people to understand things more deeply. I hope that makes sense, because that's what I'm driving at. A story provides a framework for people to understand things more deeply. So in a video game setting, we might call that what? Immersion. Right? It's why if you're going to make a science fiction novel, you can have all kinds of crazy things going on because you're on a different planet. But there are certain things that if you break the mechanics or rules of those, it becomes so unrelatable that people can't relate, and it breaks your immersion. Or you can do what a pop phrase that exists right now, you can current day it. You can make a story about a medieval kingdom and then throw current day politics into it, and it destroys it because it's breaking immersion. It's not allowing you to enmesh yourself, saturate yourself into that environment and kind of escape into that period and think about what things must have been like for them at that time. And so from what I'm gathering, the story here and the characters and how they're voice acted and how deep the characters are very, very, they draw you in, and that excites me. So a lot of adult things going on here. There's some like not safe for work and would not be safe for YouTube stuff going on in here from what I've heard, which is normally something I would avoid with a 10-foot pole. But and then again, it's that dystopian negative kind of all things are bad and evil, and you got to keep your head on a swivel, and everybody's getting played, and there are no true friends or love. There's just temporary allies. That's the kind of feel that I get from it. It kind of feels a little bit like a Fight Club kind of environment, if anybody's ever seen that movie. But that's a real possibility, and it may even be more of a possibility than The Witcher 3. I don't know yet. So both of those, The Witcher 3, Blood and Wine, and Cyberpunk 2077 are potentially on the shelf. They're like on deck, They're going to be batter up here pretty soon, potentially. And in the case of Cyberpunk, that certainly will not happen until after the Steam sale, because I'm not going to buy this for full price, especially given the fact that I might get into it and start playing it and be like, I can't stomach this. You know, there's too much. It's too negative, right? We'll have to see where it goes, you know. But I don't know. I've been watching Let's Plays and it looks pretty good. So that'll wrap it up. That's a 30-minute channel update for you guys. I didn't mean it to go that long. It was probably supposed to be more like 8 minutes, but I guess I had a lot to say. So again, I'm Aesop Grimm. Thank you for coming by the channel. I hope you like what you saw, and I hope to see you in some of these games that I'll be putting together here in the very near future as the channel goes live again after a several-month hiatus. All right, guys, later on.